All right, Cappies, welcome back. I'm Ryan with Erosoflove. Today we're going to do your June 2021 love situationship reading with the Tarot and the Angels Oracle. We just went through some major eclipses. Eclipse season is finally done. And that happened on the Sagittarius-Gemini axis. And for you, Capricorn, that is your 6th and 12th house. Gemini is 6 signs past Capricorn. Sagittarius is 12 signs past Capricorn. And this can be a very challenging eclipse, generally speaking, for you, Capricorn. The 6th house has to do with work, routine, mundane affairs, pets, and it also deals with health. So things that you're bound to, things that you feel like you have to give to. There's a service-oriented quality to the 6th house, and it's in Gemini. So it has a lot to do with mental energy, mental tension, generally speaking. So it's a heavy house to go through an eclipse. That was a solar eclipse, so something new is starting on that front. I am a Capricorn sun, and I can tell you the way that this is manifesting for me. I'm looking at my health routine and my diet, and I'm changing things up. So I'm using this to my advantage, taking care of bad habits, things like that, that will really come into stark contrast for you, Capricorn, over the next 6 months. The Sag lunar eclipse that happened in late May, that has to do with things unseen. The 12th house is a hidden house. It has to do with spirituality, research, introspection, confinement, and isolation. So if things felt very isolating or felt confined to any situation lately, that would come up with this particular eclipse. The 12th house is also associated with escapism. So sex, drugs, alcohol. And again, this kind of plays into any type of bad habits that would come up in the 6th house. So you really have to take a look at your health routine, anything that you're escaping reality. Capricorn, you are the cardinal earth sign, which means you live in reality probably more than anyone. It can be very black and white with you, to be quite honest. So if you're escaping through any mechanism, you need to really take a very close look at that with these particular eclipses. The 12th house in Vedic astrology has to do with sex. So your intimate life could very well come up in some very stark details over the next 6 months. So if things need work, those will come up. Anything dealing with intimate matters very well could come up with this particular eclipse. So not an easy one to go through, to be frank. And we have Mercury retrograde still until June 22nd. I'm doing this on June 21st. So Mercury is now going to station direct. And this is a point at which Mercury is very close to the Earth. Whenever a planet stops moving in the sky, it has extra power. And Mercury is the ruler of Gemini, and that's where Mercury is sitting right now. So it's got some extra potency with communication, learning, short distance travel, channels of all type. It also has to do with our duplicitous nature. Gemini is the twin, so we all have a dark and shadow side. So this brings up the shadow side in a lot of people. Miscommunication could be off. Things are going to be really funky over this particular week. Mercury is stationing direct now. Jupiter is now retrograde in Pisces. So karma, we're completing a lot of karmic cycles with Jupiter going retrograde, and that's going to last about 4 months or so. So it's going to move back into Aquarius. So we're going to be doing a review of 2nd house matters for you, Capricorn. That has to do with value, income, cash flow, possessions, resources. So, things could come up with a car, things could come up with a house, things could come up with a job, money, other people's money, perhaps. Venus is sitting over in your 7th house right now, and that is very good for you. That is the house of marriage, partnerships, one-on-one relationships, and legal contracts. Also business partnerships. So Venus will be there for at least a couple more days, I think, until the end of the week. So that's really good for harmonizing relationships, cooperating. People could come into your life at this time. If you're single, if you're partnered up, you might get a nice little boost in your relationship. You could be having those loving, passionate feelings. Venus brings that to all relationships, and she's very happy in Cancer. It has a comforting, self-protective quality to love, generally just for the 7th house when it's in Cancer. So, having that more nurturing attitude toward love would get you much further in your relationship. So kind of having that caring, intuitive quality is really what Venus is asking you to tap into. And it can also be very self-protective and retreating to the house. So there's an element of nesting here too. And I know everyone's been cooped up with COVID, so it seems a little counterintuitive right now to be nesting with your partner, but that's what Venus wants when she's in Cancer. Little sidebar on Mercury retrograde. So I'm a Cancer rising. And Mercury retrograde is happening in my 12th house. So I just transferred some assets. I was transferring assets between brokerage accounts, different institutions, and the institution that I was transferring assets to transferred them into the wrong account. And remember how I said the 12th house is all about hidden things? Well, I'm looking at my brokerage account being like, well, you said you transferred this stuff, but where are my assets? They're hidden. Don't know where they are. So I had to do some digging on my own, unfortunately. Turns out they deposited into someone else's account. So Mercury rules channels, technology, moving assets between brokerage accounts, it requires a lot of technology, and the hidden house is a hidden house. So, you can see how this plays out for me personally, being a Cancer rising, just with that Mercury retrograde in Gemini. And, there's always other little irritations happening. Mercury is the trickster after all. So you can see how that plays out, just a personal example. So today we're going to do your situationship reading. Doesn't matter if you're single, married, partner, dating, looking. We'll get to the bottom of your situation. We're going to do a modified Celtic cross today. I'm going to pull 1 card from the angels, 6 from the tarot. If you enjoy these readings and would like to see more of them, please click that like button and subscribe. It helps the channel, and it is very much appreciated from me. If you'd like a personal reading, my email is in the description box below. Send me an email. We'll set up a time to chat. All right, Capricorn, let's see what's going on for you in love. First card. Make the effort. Great love is worth taking the steps you're guided to take. All right. So you're being asked to put forth a little bit more effort. Maybe you've been working quite a bit lately. That 6th house eclipse in Gemini is a work-oriented house. So maybe you need to do some rebalancing here. Pay attention to your loved ones, your partner. They rely on you too, Capricorn, not just work. And I know that you're a very work-oriented sign. I'm a Capricorn sun, so I'm the same way. I'm constantly working, but sometimes you got to put work aside and pay attention to the loved ones. So let's see what the tarot has to say. First card out is going to be your general energy. Knight of Swords. Oh dear. What's going on with you, Cap? Late nights, some obsession, not sure what to do. That's definitely a situationship. Second card out is your issue in your relationship. Oh man, going through some heavy stuff, Cap. 3 of Swords. Third card out is what you're conscious of in your relationship. Hierophant. The commitment of the relationship, right? Could be a Taurus that you're dealing with. This is what you're unconscious of, what you're unaware of. Page of Wands. This has to do with passion, children. We'll get more into that. 5th card out is your limitation. Got Justice. There's a rebalancing of sorts that needs to happen. I feel like this is a very... this reading is reminiscent of a reading you had last month. You need to do some rebalancing there too, but we'll get more into that, that Justice card. And the last one is the outcome. Ace of Pentacles. Okay, so there's a new start on the way. That's very good. So, Cappy. Make the effort. Okay. It's time to rebalance. If you've been very hard at work, if you've been putting your attention to something other than your partner, it's time for them to come first. And sometimes you need to hear that very stark reality because you love to work. It's what makes you feel good, but your relationships need work too. So you have to remember that you are the rock in many people's lives. You're that steady, sure-footed Capricorn that's constantly climbing the mountain to your goals. But sometimes you have to realize that the people along the way are very important. And you can't do it alone. As much as you like to think you can do it alone, you can't. So it's time to do some rebalancing here. So let's start with the center of the reading. Nine of Swords. With this card, this is obsession. This is staying up late at night, thinking in circles, going around in circles. Something's bothering you, and it needs to be addressed. And it looks like it could have been a loss of some type recently, or in the past. There's some healing that needs to be done here. Three of Swords with the Nine of Swords. This points to past lovers, past relationships. You just had that eclipse in that 12th house that deals with intimate matters. So, this is for some of you, not all of you. Maybe there was a third-party situation happening that you found out about, and it's driving you nuts. And you're trying to figure out, how am I going to save my relationship? How am I going to save my commitment? Because this is what you're aware of. It's the Hierophant. It's structures. It's commitment. It's marriage. How are you going to save it? Capricorn, you want commitment. You're a very loyal sign. When you stray, though, it's because the person in your life is no longer part of the plan. And sometimes that's a very difficult realization to come to. So if this is you, it's you deciding, are you going to save your marriage? Are you going to save your partnership? Are you going to save the commitment? And it looks like what you're unaware of here is that you need to deal with some intimacy issues. Page of Wands is a very passionate card, can represent children at times. This is for some of you, not all of you. Perhaps some of you lost a child in pregnancy, and I'm sorry to hear that. Just a message that I'm getting. Like I said, that's for some of you, not all of you. So, that could really, that explains this, right? But for most of you, this has to deal with some intimacy issues. And it looks like you might need to go see a therapist, counselor, go see a professional about this, because this is definitely something that requires a rebalance of sorts. Justice also deals with the courts. So if some of you are breaking off a relationship, looks like settlement is coming, and it could be a favorable one. Sometimes this represents court cases, and in a love reading, it very well could be divorce. Just with the cards I have here, so messages about your commitment ending, finality, justice. If this is you swinging the sword of justice, I would say this: Capricorn, you can be a little ruthless at times. You are extremely nurturing to the people that you love. But when you turn cold, the Ice King comes out, he swings that sword, and you cut people off. So you need to decide, are you going to cut people off? Do you want them still in your life? Are you going to let emotion take over and start saying things that you might later regret? I'd be very careful about that. The good news, this is a heavy reading. The good news, though, is that the universe wants you to make an effort. Make the effort. So if you're ending a relationship, it's making the effort to start something new and letting the past go. If this is a past situation, it's time to let this go. It's time to heal from this. It's time to block them on social media, delete the pictures, to go through your healing process to get through it. For others of you that want to continue the relationship, this is saying you're going to have to work through it. Perhaps this heartbreak was something you can work through. Perhaps there's some forgiveness here, because the outcome is the Ace of Pentacles. And you are an earth sign. Pentacles represent earth. So this is the new start for you. Some of you are just done with the relationship. I'm just going to say it. Some of you are just done. You're going to start the new one, and here it is. Once the door closes, a window opens. The universe reaches out with the new start, and here it is. Others of you will forgive. It's going to take a while, because this one hurts. This one hurts a lot. I can feel it. There's a lot of pain here. And you have to decide whether or not you want to forgive and to give this another chance. Others of you, an ex is coming back. Yeah, Mercury retrograde, it brings back people. So, and this could be it. This could be the message. It could have been one, they're looking for some bedroom time, if it's a message, because it's Wands energy. And wands represent passion and fire. So you need to decide whether or not this is worth your time. Do you want to go back to this situation? I don't know. I think you're moving forward. I think you're moving forward with the new start. I think you know that it's time for a new cycle. Those eclipses, man. 12th and 6th house. It's not easy. Those are the hardest eclipses to go through. It's big changes. And it really touches you on the everyday life, because it's your 6th house of mundane affairs, regular life, and then it's your 12th house of hidden things you didn't see coming, and it has to do with sex. You're the horny goat, and you're very passionate in the bedroom, I know. So this is all about you deciding, where do you go next, Capricorn? I think you're going to start something new. I think something new is coming in here, but this is hard stuff. This is definitely hard stuff, and the obsession, the late night thinking, going around in circles about this it doesn't produce results. You're not going to find answers there. So you need to pour yourself into the new relationship, the new start, putting yourself out there. I wouldn't go digging into a pile of work. That is your natural reaction to things, because that's what I do. So don't do that. You're going to have to resist the impulse. You're going to have to start getting out there, putting yourself out there. And something new is going to come in, and it's going to be very fantastic. But yeah, others, you're done. Some of you are getting divorced. It's settled. Others of you might hear from an ex coming back in, but all of you are starting something new, which is very good. I hope you enjoyed this reading, Capricorn. It's a heavy read. It's kind of the nature of the beast. Not everything is rainbows. But the thing is, with you, Capricorn, you get through this stuff the best. You know what it means to have that heavy energy. You're ruled by Saturn. You understand how this all works. So you know how to get through this. Trust your mechanisms for healing. It's going to be very important during this period. All right, until next time, take care.